Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Charles Coachman, and this is Bay Area Let's Talk. Bay Area Let's Talk. Well, I normally like to start the show out with birthday shout outs, and I've only got one today, and that is Patrick Prince. Patrick Prince, realtor out of Fresno with Keller Williams Realty, and he is a terrific guy. If you are looking for a realtor to help you to buy or to sell down in Fresno, Patrick Prince is your man. He's a prince of a guy. Anyway, Patrick, happy birthday to you, and happy birthday to everyone else out there. If I didn't see you, happy birthday to you all, but Patrick, especially to you. Cheers, man. All right. Hey, I like to let everybody know that we are using StreamYard. StreamYard, if you'd like to make a comment, please allow StreamYard to use your likeness by going to www.streamyard.com/Facebook. And again, allow them to use your likeness. Allow them to put your picture out there. And then I also like to let everybody know who we are using and what has allowed us to go live. And that would be number one, the Grow Live Academy, Ken Wall's company. This is a great company with a ton of information to help people go live on many different sites. And Ken teaches you all about it for a very reasonable price. But I'll tell you what, we do a Thursday night class that is just unreal. And I would suggest to everybody, if you are interested in doing live streaming, if you are interested in getting your message out there, I would suggest that you join Ken's Grow Live Academy. Check it out. Check it out. And I'll tell you what, if you join, the Thursday night class is worth the price of admission, completely worth the price of admission. We have had some awesome trainers on Thursday evenings. So I would say go ahead and check out the Grow Live Academy. I would also, again, recommend StreamYard.com, the platform that we're using to go live with. And then I am keeping in touch with my clients and friends with the use of Hippo Video. And I would suggest that if you are looking for a way to contact your clients, to use them also. All right. Again, so this is Bay Area Let's Talk. I am Charles Coachman. You can reach me by calling at 408-439-0766 or texting me at the same number, 408-439-0766. Or you can send me an email to bayarealetstalk@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And then, of course, you can go to our Facebook page, Bay Area Let's Talk on Facebook, or you can look me up at Charles Coachman, and then you can reach me by Messenger. Would certainly love to hear from you. All right, let's get on with this. I wanted, today is really only about one subject, and then we're going to break into our talking about this day in rock. But today, I'm going to go ahead and hit two things. I have been talking about, on several occasions, Asian people being attacked in the Bay Area. Now, apparently it's a nationwide happening, but in the Bay Area, it has happened on several occasions. On several occasions just recently. And we've had a couple of deaths because of it. And they are not attacking young Asian men. They are attacking elderly Asian men and women. Some knocking them to the ground. It's like a game, knocking them to the ground and injuring them. And then others just coming up and stealing their purses. As a matter of fact, there is footage of one person going into a grocery store, a small supermarket, and stealing everybody's purses. Grabbing everything from them and running out. And these were elderly people. In this case, they were all women, and they couldn't do anything about it. Now this is just horrible. So we have to address it. We have to address when this happens to anyone, if it's a white person, if it's a black person, if it's a Hispanic person, if it's an Asian person, I don't care who it is. People attacking elderly citizens don't belong out on the street. That's my opinion. It may not even be the law. And certainly in some of these cities where if you do attack somebody, you're out because there's no bail. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And it has made my blood boil. Made my blood boil. But even worse than that, even worse than this, and maybe this will lose me some people talking to me. Maybe this will lose me some people trying to understand what I'm doing here. Nancy Pelosi spoke with a group of Asian and Black governmental employees, those that are in elected positions, I should say, and blamed it all on white supremacy. How can she do that when all the video that's showing is not showing white people that are doing this? It is not. How can a person literally come out and say, don't take my words for it, this comes directly from the FBI? Well, don't let your lying eyes deceive you. All the video shows that it is not white people that are doing this. Now, certainly, white people commit crimes, and they do. But everything that's been happening in the Bay Area, that there has been video on, has not been white people. Nancy Pelosi, you went out and lied to the public. You lied to these people you were speaking to by blaming it on white supremacy. Just so you can get one more further jab in our former president. There is no reason for it. And I'm going to share video on that in just a moment. And this video is not going to show her talking, but the reporter that's doing it will say that Nancy Pelosi stated that it was because of white supremacy. And that is not the case. Let's be honest. In the Bay Area, we do not want hate crimes. Throughout America, we do not want hate crimes. We want to put a finish to it. But we also want to be honest. We also want to be honest with what's going on. It's a shame. It's a shame that our elected leaders, our elected representatives, which Nancy Pelosi is the third most powerful person in our country, would allow herself to be put into such a hole that she would just come out and flat lie. But that is nothing new for Nancy Pelosi. It's nothing new for politicians, period. But when you come out and tell blatant lies, and every person sitting on that panel knew it was a lie, but nobody had the guts to say anything or to correct it, that's on them. But let's be real. What's going on in the Bay Area is not about white supremacy. I would believe that crimes of white supremacy in the Bay Area would be less than 1%. Let's be honest about it. Now, in different parts of the country, I don't know. And I am certainly that there are areas of white supremacy. But this in the Bay Area is not white supremacy. White supremacy would be shut down in the Bay Area so quick your head would spin. That's all there is to it. Take a look up here real quick. Scott Ricard. Hey, man, we're having a great day. I had a wonderful time with my wife. We had to take off for a couple hours to do some chores that we weren't able to do over the weekend, and we got them done. So I'm a happy camper. She's a happy camper. Happy wife, happy life. And I'm glad for that. Hope you had a great day. Hope you have. Are you kidding me? She is so ridiculous. Oh, it was horrible. I saw it on TV, and so I was trying to capture the place where I saw it, and I thought I had it, but they don't complete the statements because they showed it the first time. I have not seen it since, but the reporter does mention that she blamed it on the rise in white supremacy. Well, this is crazy. Hey, Larry Schneider, hope you're doing well, man. And I hope your heart is much better after that Super Bowl debacle. But you know what? Your team is so damn good. They're going to be back many, many times. Many times. You've got one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. And you've got a heck of a coach and some good coaching back there. So, Larry, I hope you're doing well, man. All right. And I am, well, let me tell you, I am tired of it all. I am sick and tired of everything being blamed on white people. And I got to tell you, I'm white, but I'm also Native American. My mother was red-haired, white-skinned as much as you could be. My father had pure black hair and dark skin, was confused as being a black person many times. But he was just very much so an Indian, an American Indian, Native American. I don't know if I can even get in trouble for saying such a thing. But it really fires me up when we've got our nation, especially leaders, that are blaming everything that goes on in the country on white supremacy. It really hurts. It's really, really sad. So I'm going to take just a moment and I'm going to play this, put it up here. I'm going to go back here and play this out real quick.
Speaker Pelosi called Asian American hate crimes a problem in America that is now more prevalent than before. She called for greater mechanisms for reporting these crimes and documenting them as hate crimes, not simply as harassment or bullying. Other representatives added that helping people with language barriers will be key in bringing about accurate and effective reporting of these crimes to court. Speaker Pelosi added that Islamophobia is one aspect in the rise in assaults on Asian American Pacific Islanders, and above all, she said, white supremacy is at the root of the issue. She also commended local Bay Area efforts to support Asian Americans in this community.
I just want to say, as San Francisco representative, how proud we are of our community and the entire Bay Area, right, Barbara? Our mayor, Mayor Breed, has taken every occasion to speak out against this anti-Asian, and as recently as this weekend, a rally in front of City Hall.
Representative Barbara Lee of Oakland also spoke at a virtual press conference calling attacks on Asian Americans unacceptable, citing data from Stop AAPI Hate, showing that in March to December of last year, there had been more than 3,000 incidents against Asian Americans reported, and she believes that's just a fraction of the total number that's occurring. President Biden, for his part, sent a letter to the Department of Justice calling for a stronger partnership with the AAPI community. Reporting live, Emma Goss, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
So that was Fox 2 News. That Fox 2 News is a local Bay Area station, and it is just something that just makes my blood boil. I don't know what more you can say. We have to care about people. We have to stop the hate that's going on. We have to stop it. And it's a responsibility of everybody to see something, to report it. If you know that people are doing something, you have to stop them. You have to change this. It is terrible. It is terrible. But it's even worse when our elected officials are blaming one group of people. Why? Why? What good does it do you? So that's pretty much all I had to say. This was a huge, huge topic because this last weekend was also Japanese Remembrance Day. And that is when the Japanese were interned throughout the US, especially on the West Coast. If you were Japanese, or possibly just of Asian descent, you were sent to internment camps because our government believed that you may be here with the enemy. And so it wasn't just the men that they rounded up families. We have to learn our history on that. And we have to understand that will never happen here again if we are a just nation. It should have never happened the first time. But apparently our government and our president especially did not believe that this was a one-time thing. So I'm hoping that this will never happen again. Now, for the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is the murders going on in the Bay Area. We are spiking for murders in Oakland, San Francisco, and in San Jose. I believe we had 3 in San Jose this weekend, maybe 4 in Oakland and 4 in San Francisco. Our police's hands are being tied. We are letting criminals out on the street, and people are wondering why there is a spike in crimes. We are letting illegal aliens stay in our country, even if they have gang affiliations. And why are there gang murders going up? Apparently, we live in a world where 1 + 1 = 3. But that 1 + 1 = 2. And we have to see that there is cause and effect. When you decide that you are not going to hold criminals in jail because a wealthy person can get out because they can pay their bail, and others have to sit in jail for a little while, we have got a problem. We have got a problem. If we need to set our bail higher for others, then fine. But we can't expect our country and our cities, our counties, and our states to survive if we keep allowing criminals to hit the streets. We just can't do it. We just can't do it. I don't care if they're white, black, brown, yellow, red, all the colors in the rainbow. We can't afford to let criminals out on the street. Oh, but they were just dealing drugs. It didn't hurt anybody. Well, the fentanyl that's been being delivered throughout the Bay Area has caused a huge death toll. The death toll for fentanyl use in the Bay Area was bigger than what's going on with the pandemic. We have people dying left and right because we are allowing drugs in the area. Now, luckily, they just had a huge, huge drug bust, probably put a small dent in things. But we have to readdress our criminal justice system. And it's not about just making it easier for one, well, they normally say for people of color, but they're talking about black and brown people. The people of color. Well, there's all sorts of colors, man. But black and brown people, hey, we want justice for everyone. But if you commit the crimes, then you know what? You belong in jail. You belong incarcerated. Now, if you can be rehabilitated and put back out on the street and you are not going to cause more damage to our society, then great. We are letting people out because of jail overcrowding. The reason that we're letting people out because of jail overcrowding is because we're closing private establishments, private companies from jailing people. Well, we cannot afford to let people that are committing crimes out on the street. We just can't do it. People are going to get hurt. And we are seeing a rise in crime, not only in assaults and in physical crimes, but also in property crimes, because people know that they are not going to go to jail, or they're going to go get booked, they're going to be released, and they're back out on the street committing that same crime. We've got to understand it. We can't be electing people that are going to let folks do this. San Francisco's former district attorney left. He left San Francisco, got himself elected down in LA, and now he is turning that place into a criminal turnstile. It has gotten so bad in LA that his assisting DAs are filing lawsuits against him to stop this. And we've got to, because there's people like this that are getting money from places that want to turn our country into a third world country, a hellhole, an asshole. We can't allow it. We can't allow it. We've got to stand up for what's right. Okay, now time to dig in and enjoy a little bit of music. Enjoy a little bit of music on This Day in Rock. This Day in Rock in 1936, Ernie K. Doe, Ernest Cador Jr. is born. Ernest Cador had a huge hit. Mother-in-law, 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 mother-in-law. Today's issue on Billboard, this is 1956. Today's issue of Billboard reviews James Brown's debut single, a little song called Please, Please, Please. They didn't know how to describe it, but they said their boys were out there sweating up a storm. But it was an awesome song. And of course, James Brown went on to have a huge, huge, huge career and impact on American music. 1963, and This Day in Rock pays an awful lot of attention to the Beatles. The Beatles, from their Northern Music Publishing Company, released their first single, Please Please Me, the first song that they had written, spends its first week at #1 on the UK charts. Their manager, Brian Epstein, does the right thing and takes the lads out for a meal. 1967, the Buckinghams hit #1 with Kind of a Drag. Kind of a Drag. I remember that song. I love that song. So later tonight, I'm going to pop on a few songs onto our Music of a Lifetime. Heck, I can't even remember what my page is called, but you can find it. But I will put some of these songs on, and then Kind of a Drag by the Buckinghams will be there. In 1967, the Beatles record the piano chords used in A Day in the Life. And David Crosby popped by the Abbey Road studio for a visit. 1968, Genesis releases its first single, The Silent Sun. Peter Gabriel and Tony Banks later say they wrote the song in the style of the Bee Gees to impress their producer, who was a huge Bee Gees fan, Jonathan King. So I'm going to have to check that single out and see if we might want to put that on our music page tonight. 1969, Led Zeppelin's first album is released and reviewed by Oz Magazine. Writer Felix Dennis says the debut album defies immediate classification or description because it is simply and obviously a turning point in rock music. They will need time to define it. Led Zeppelin. And that album was awesome. Awesome. 1969, the Beatles begin their sessions for Abbey Road with a take of I Want You, She's So Heavy. Just another awesome, awesome Beatles song. Awesome Beatles song. On this day in 1976, Florence Ballard of the Supremes dies of cardiac arrest. She was part of the group when they did Baby Love and Stop in the Name of Love. Too young to die, though. She was 32 years of age. So rest in peace. In 1977, this is the year I graduated from high school, the number one chart toppers hit was The New Kid in Town by the Eagles. Their first single from the release of the album Hotel California, their first single to be certified gold. And I got to tell you, the Beatles. The Beatles are my favorite band overall. The Doors are my favorite rock band, American rock band. But the Eagles, in a different category, because I don't put them out there as full rock, I call them California country rock. But let me tell you a little bit about the band. And I printed some stuff off, and I know most of this. My wife and I had been to see the Eagles many, many times. More than you can count on your hands and your feet, or your hands and your toes, your fingers and your toes. The band formed in 1971 when Linda Ronstadt's then manager, John Boylan, recruited Glenn Frey, Bernie Ledden, and Randy Meisner from their previous affiliations to back Ronstadt. They were short a drummer until Frey telephoned Don Henley, whom he had met at the Troubadour Club in Los Angeles. After auditioning for Ronstadt, she approved the band, and they backed her up on a 2-month tour and provided the opportunity for their first album recording on her 1970 album, Silk Purse. After the tenure with Ronstadt and with the encouragement, they decided to form their own band, signing in 1970 to Asylum Records, a new label by David Geffen. Geffen and partner Elliot Roberts also initially managed the band. The new group chose the name of the Eagles as a nod to the Byrds. Ledden had been on the Dillard and Clark with the former Byrds singer Gene Clark in the Flying Burrito Brothers, with former Byrds Graham Parsons, Chris Hillman, and Michael Cart. Now, so that's a little bit about their startup. And this, like I said, they are just one of my favorite bands. And I just wanted to read about, and I can't find it for some reason. But their greatest hits album, is the biggest selling album of all time by the Eagles. So let's see. Hotel California came out in late 1976. New Kid in Town was the #1 hit. Hotel California on May 7th also went to #1. What changed this band was the addition of Joe Walsh, and they became more of a rock and roll band. But I still consider them as one of the great California kind of country rock bands. And I just think they were fantastic. And I still love them, and hate the fact that Glenn Frey is gone. But that's my short tribute to the Eagles. And some point in time there'll be a Friday afternoon where we cover the Eagles. In 1978, on this date, the Police appear as blondes in an advertisement for Wrigley's chewing gum. They decided to keep the look. 1979, Rolling Stone reports that Journey has entered into a sponsorship deal with Budweiser in the first instances what will become normal in rock and roll. Always a big liquor company backing them up. In 1986, MTV celebrates the 20-year anniversary of the Monkees. So they did a 22-hour straight broadcast of Monkey episodes. In 1988, Rick Astley wins the annual British Phonographic Industry Award for the best single, Never Gonna Give You Up. Never Gonna Give You Up. On this date in 1994, Papa John Creech, 76-year-old violinist with the Jefferson Airplane and Hot Tuna and Jefferson Starship, he passed away. This guy could crank out some music. Had a severe heart attack in 1994 during an LA earthquake. And I can't remember the name of the town it was in, but it was a huge earthquake. And there were a lot of people that ended up dying because of heart attacks. On this date in 2000, Eric Clapton, Lauryn Hill, and Stevie Wonder pay homage to Curtis Mayfield. Mayfield died after a short illness, if I'm not mistaken. I want to take a look. I printed some stuff out for him. Let's see. Curtis Mayfield. And I don't have the cause of death, but he was a politically conscious composer of a couple of songs, Move On Up and Superfly. He was born in 1943, died in 1999. He had some wonderful, wonderful songs, and doing a tribute to him was certainly the right thing to do. The right thing to do. So good job, Eric Clapton, Lauryn Hill, and Stevie Wonder. The Sunday Mirror in 2001 on this date lists the Beatles are the biggest money earners of 2000 in the music business. Although they no longer exist, and by that time had not existed for 30 years, they brought in a cool $50 million. Not bad. In 2002, and I don't remember this, and I followed Napster pretty close, but a judge ruled that the record industry must prove it owns the copyrights of the recordings that they say were illegally traded by Napster in their ongoing dispute. They knew that Napster didn't own them, but they said, the judge said record companies had to prove proof of ownership. Wow. 2002, 66-year-old Little Richard receives an NAACP Image Award, but he reveals that he's thinking about retiring. Thinking about retiring? I don't think he ever did. I don't think he ever did. And then I'm going to skip forward to 2011. Greg Rowley of Santana and Journey fame releases a solo EP. Greg Rowley was one of the very few people that have Rock and Roll Hall of Fame entries for two different groups. He was a young man with Santana, and then he decided to break away from Santana 3 to 4 years later. He'd already been there for a while, so probably 6 to 7 years with Santana. Then he formed the basis of Journey, and they went on to become really, really powerful and hugely popular at the end of Greg Rowley's tour with Journey. I mean, they put out some great music, and Greg Rowley, man, you were good. And you know what? He was the voice to Black Magic Woman and Evil Ways. Black Magic Woman and Evil Ways. I think those may have been a couple of the most popular Santana songs. You never know, though. It's up to everybody's taste. Anyway, I am Charles Coachman. This is Bay Area Let's Talk. Bay Area Let's Talk. That is the end of our broadcast for our news and This Day in Rock. Hope that you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for stopping in. If you'd like to share this, we'd love for you to share it out. We're going to be putting some music on our music page later on this afternoon or early this evening. So if you'd like to go over and take a look at our music page on Facebook, it's music that I've loved over the years, and I like to share it with people that have some of the same interests anyway. But have a great night. Thank you for stopping in. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. And then just a reminder that Fridays are all music, just all about music, This Day in Rock. And then we're picking up a local band right now. And then, excuse me, then we're going to be hitting some bands across the world that made a big difference in rock and roll. Have a great night. Take a quick look up here. Scott, you have a great evening. Thank you for sticking with me, man. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the evening. And we'll talk to you soon. And this is Charles Coachman with Bay Area Let's Talk. Good night.